As we enter the second round robin, teams get one more shot at taking down the league's best before we look at the playoff picture. Optic Gaming will hope to end the weekend 2-0 versus this absolutely terrifying Cloud9 squad who found some success with their rookie jungler Blabber just yesterday. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the NALCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we follow the trends of the league and talk about the MVP race until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champion Select. Meteos is back. It's good to have you, my friend.
I'm glad to be back.
All right, it's good to have you. And Kobe, you're sliding in as the third analyst on the desk.
Dangerous position to be in, I'm well aware.
Exactly that, but I'm glad you're cautious.
You died right the intro last time. You think
I could definitely go for personal best this time.
There it is. He's already achieved that mark. All right, well, we're only a couple of months away from the summer finals where the NALCS champion will be crowned at the Oracle Arena. Make sure to pick up your tickets for Oakland now so you can see who North America sends to Worlds. Now, in the standings, there's a lot to absorb. 100 Thieves are on top, but then there are 5 teams tied for second, with only 1 game separating the teams below that group. And listen, look, we've shown this 100 times. I'm sure it makes as little sense to you as it does to me. So to help make things crystal clear, we've decided to present this artist rendition of the Summer 2018 standings. Starting to make a lot more sense to you guys now, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So whoever is above them on the staircase is who they're underneath.
Right, yes.
Like who they lose to.
Exactly.
So you can clearly see.
If you just follow the staircase
Right.
around, you'll see that the teams
I like
above
that
other
some
teams
of
on
them
the
have
staircase
2
are-
different options right now of which way they're gonna go.
And that's kind of the point, Kobe. Thank you for pointing that out.
That's what I'm here for, baby.
Okay, well, while
I'm here for the obvious, the people who need the help.
while it feels like chaos within the standings, there are some trends that I'd like to look at within the league, starting with Team Liquid. Again, our spring split champions, but who recently have been struggling quite a bit.
And it feels kind of like a repeating story for some of these players. Impact is a guy who sometimes slumps in the middle of seasons before always seeming like a beast in the playoffs. And this is the same thing that happened in spring where they started 5-1 or 5-3, whatever it was in that one, before going back to 500.
You know, sometimes I wonder if going to Rift Rivals affected their play at all, because they did seem pretty good leading up to Rift Rivals. And I wonder if it was either by playing against European teams and realizing some weaknesses they've had, they've like made some false corrections and tried to, you know, change things they didn't need to change, or maybe they just got overconfident from their success at Rift Rivals. So I'm wondering if that affected their play going forward at all.
My criticism are a little bit more basic, like just the individual mistakes that we're now seeing from, you know, Ole and Impact especially. They're making a lot of just 1v1 errors and laning mistakes as well. So hopefully they can turn it around and have the playoff buff that you always talk about for Impact.
Yeah, that's what I think will probably happen. I'm not super concerned for this team in the long run. I think if you're talking about like international performance, sure, but domestically, I think they'll bounce back domestically.
We're always concerned.
Yeah, that's always true for every team. But I think domestically, like come playoffs, I think this is a team that will have it mostly figured out.
All right, so confidence that they'll pull it together by the end of the split. Another team, though, that was at the top of the standings end of spring, Echo Fox as well. Kind of a tumultuous last 4 games, splitting them 2-2.
I think this is a team that, from basically the formation of this roster, everyone was a little concerned that the team could implode at some point due to all of the very like aggressive personalities on the team. And some people are kind of wondering if that's going on right now. It seems like their team's been a little bit disjointed. Their plays just haven't really seemed very team-like. So wondering if that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of crazy that our first 2 teams that we feel like have been trending downwards were considered the 2 strongest teams that we had in spring split. And we've kind of had a summer downturn for both of them. However, at least, you know, Dardoch yesterday after their games, he recognized their mistakes and he was like, all right, we definitely tunnel vision. We chased too far. Me and Huni are being too aggressive right now. So, you know, maybe they can make those corrections.
One thing to recognize the issue, another one to fix it, but that's what we'll be looking for Echo Fox to do. I guess, you know, my question is, does this necessarily surprise you, though, when you look at the types of players that Echo Fox has? I'm looking at Huni in particular. This guy is an aggressive top laner. He's been known to die. Even in some of his best performing splits, he'll still be kind of up there in terms of, like, solo deaths.
Lucian top!
Huni's definitely the kind of player that, I've played against him a lot, and especially scrimming him, he's the kind of guy who, he plays really aggressive in lane, and if he gets ganked, it's just BG jungle difference. So he's definitely a very aggressive player. He's good. I'm not trying to fault him by any means, but he does like to get in there, and hopefully his team has his back, and when they don't, then he doesn't look too good.
I will say usually when he's kind of dying, he's usually at least getting something back. Like, oh, I had a 40 CS lead because I was playing so aggro. And it feels like in the past couple games, the aggression staying there, but there's not that kind of upside along with
isn't.
it. Yeah.
Okay, interestingly
And I think that if we look at their game yesterday, even Huni didn't have a great game, but it's hard to fault him for the entire game because, like, a big reason that he started losing his advantage was Shen killing his bot lane 2v2, coming up top, blowing his flash, then killing his jungler. So it was like bot difference a little bit that game.
Right, up to that point, he and Dardoch playing the way that they should have on the top side of the map. Because it got blown open on the bot side, he kind of, the cascading effect into his own lane.
Right, I also heard that Dardoch spent 6 hours yesterday after their game practicing canceling recalls with his Trundle pillar, so he's not going to miss another one today.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Finally, let's talk about Golden Guardians again. Bottom of the standings, spring split. So we're jumping to the opposite side of the bracket, but now they find themselves in contention for playoffs easily.
A success story here. Golden Guardians have done it in a way where they're really embracing a lot of the new champions too, right? The Heimerdinger, he definitely immediately went to Heisendog and was like, teach me how to play this champion. Europe's playing it. We need to have it as a power in the bottom side. Then Mickey's also playing Smite mid with the Talon. They're roaming around there. They're really embracing kind of the strengths of those players, I think.
And I like the teams that they were beating there. CLG, 100 Thieves, taking wins off very good teams. So it's not like this is a uptick because of strength of schedule or anything.
Right, absolutely. And it is nice to see that with, even though there are some still misgivings from individuals within all of their games, even looking at, Mickey yesterday, we kind of played on that idea of the coin flip Mickey. Overall, the idea that they're trying things and the willingness to jump on these new picks is probably, a big catalyst for why they're finding so much success.
I actually really like the success story of Golden Guardians because it's a team where if you look at the players, there's not any like super standout players as far as like, this guy's going to 1v9, maybe Mickey a little bit, but for the most part, they've got low contracts, definitely Matt, none of them are bad players, but they're not like MVP candidates,
right.
But they've just been putting in a lot of work, working really well as a team. And I think it's begun to show. Like their team play is very good. And I'm glad to see Contracts, doing well because I've always thought he's a very good player.
Well, those are the trends as we've seen them through the first half of the split. We'll see how much more things change in our games today with our schedule presented by Jersey Mike Subs. First up, Optic Gaming faces Cloud9, followed by FlyQuest versus 100 Thieves. Plus, Team Liquid versus CLG, where Freak, Golden Glue, Blabber, and Licorice will share their thoughts on the matchup from the NALCS Lounge on Riot Games 2. If the craving calls, order a sub above online at jerseymikes.com with the promo code JMNALCS to earn Hextech Chess and RP with the added chance of a free trip to the Summer Finals. We're going to hear from Captain Flowers and Zyrene about Game 1 in just a moment, but before that, Zabutein was asked, is there a chance that teams just play to shut down Power of Evil and beat Optic?
This is something they can do, but that's not easy. If it was like that, people would have beaten SKT during the gold age of SKT quite easily. The thing is, killing the mid lane repeatedly requires a lot of resources. So if you try and you fail, then your game is boomed. So you have to be very careful in this kind of strategies. We're open to play against that, but I don't think it's that easy to actually shut down a mid laner in 2018. I'm really happy and very excited. First because Blabber is playing. He was in my team at the scouting grounds. I was saying, oh, this guy is LCS ready, and now I'm facing against him. So I hope he will choke today, and he will have the worst match of his year against us in a way that we win because we need this point. Besides that, I'm very excited to play against C9. We really get along with them. They're good screen partners as well. And yeah, I wish the best to our opponents, but I feel pretty confident in the game today.
Confidence from Zabutein saying we really want these points. And normally, Zyrene, a battle at last place would have no more impact than just a small jump in the standings. But because last place is only 3 wins away from first, a win here means so much more.
Yeah, this is the most parity we've had ever in the NALCS halfway through the split. And that means that these wins mean even more. And it really could come down to who can carry from each team, right? Power of Evil in the mid lane has had amazing performances. But the thing is transitioning those wins has been difficult for him, but also Licorice on the other side, exactly the same thing. He's gotten those leads, he's tried to carry the team. Yesterday, it worked out for both of these guys. PoE carried on Victor, and Licorice carried on Poppy, but the question is which one today is really going to have that carry performance, and which team is going to be able to rally around them and have them close out the game.
A contest of those back muscles. Who's got the bigger carry ready to go in this game? Yesterday, Cloud9 picked up that win, and Ovely caught up with Reaper to find out the atmosphere around this C9 roster.
Thanks, guys. Just got finished speaking with Reaper, who said that for the team, it's just good vibes throughout. They know that every single match is incredibly important if they want to make playoffs, but they actually already have their eyes set on Worlds. He said that he already looked at the schedule, and he's confident that there's no week that they can't 2-0. I also asked him a little bit about the sudden addition of Blabber and why it took so long to kind of bring him in. He said that Blabber was actually just a little too nervous to try out for the team, but coming into this week, he was ready. He said that Cloud9 has been playing a little bit scared recently, but Blabber is a great addition because he's already aggressive and ready to make all these big plays. As for their game against Optic today, he says, sure, they have a PoE, but we got a Jensen. Back to you guys.
Well, they're going to 2-0 every week from here to the World Finals. So
He's looking at Worlds already.
What does he do when it gets to best of fives and a 2-0 is not enough?
yeah, right? I don't know.
They get out of 10th place for one day.
And
they're
that's
like,
a lot of confidence.
Worlds.
I respect it. I respect it. You got to believe in yourself.
I mean, this is an org that's never missed it. So, to some degree, it does to some degree make sense, especially if
Gotta earn
you're
it,
a
Dash.
Cloud9 fan. You do have to earn it. Of course, the work still has to be there. My goodness, confidence coming out of the Cloud9 camp. We're going to take a break. When we return, we weigh in on Game 1 and give our thoughts on the midseason MVP. After today's games, though, Solo will be joining Freak and Zyrene for NALCS tonight, and we'll be putting his MS Paint skills to the test. Help us decide what he draws by spamming chat during the break. Welcome back to the NALCS Countdown, where the timer to my top right, there it is, indicates the start of Champion Select. And with half of the games in the split completed, I wanted to challenge my analysts by submitting their MVP ballots as if the split ended today. So we're going to throw those up on the screen, see where you guys threw your votes. Sneezing over there?
A little sneeze,
I got a little sneeze, man.
Come on, Mark.
All right, first
here we
up,
go.
we got Mark Z's midseason MVP candidates. Someday, Double Lift, and Mickey. Are these in order here? From
Yeah,
top
this
to
is
bottom?
how I would have submitted them. Someday, I think, is second in kills on the top place team, has had a fantastic split, winning a lot of lanes, as well as having some big standout games for me.
All right, next up, Kobe's pick, Someday, Double Lift, but Dardoch slotting into that third position.
I think Dardoch has looked so good this split. Super aggressive jungler. Yes, he has chased a bit too deep in some of the games, and then has cost them, but he has hard carried a lot of the Echo Fox.
Oh, we got Meteosis here,
And we
too.
have Meteosis as well. So Someday occupying the top slot for all three of you. Sneaky coming in second. We're going to talk about that one moment. I know you have thoughts and justification.
I know he's your boy, dude, but
and then,
come on.
And then contracts. So, but first, let's break. We got some time to talk about each of these players. So I actually want to go back to Someday. You, of course, threw out the stats that he is, second most kills on the, top-ranked team at the moment. But what is it about this player that makes him so impactful at the moment?
One thing that I find really, really good about Someday, obviously I've played with him for one, so I know he's a great player. But another one is that he's not necessarily a player that just soaks all of the resources. And for me, a big part of what I view as a good player is players who can create advantages, who can be in, disadvantageous situations and still come out ahead. And he creates a lot of pressure for his team. He does a lot with a little, and just overall very solid player.
I mean, yesterday being the focus of a lot of attention, but still coming out at 7-1-5 after all of that focused attention to the top lane. Next up, Double Lift. This was a guy who was sitting in second position for both Kobe and Mark.
And I know he's probably taken a little bit of a nosedive in the last two games, but that doesn't change how much work he was doing early on the split. He's obviously the primary carry threat on the team that finished first last split and was at the top of the standings for the majority of the first half. So you got to give the credit where it's due.
And especially like Meteos was talking about, even in the games where they were losing and the team overall was behind, Double Lift was still performing well. And he's in a position where marksmen are hard to pull off when your team is behind, right? Because you have to worry about so many threats from the enemy team diving you. So I think he's done a really good job with that.
Double Lift definitely was a player that was close for me to being one of the MVP candidates, but I do have to say that I don't think he's adapted that well to the bot lane changes. He's looked fairly shaky on those mages, and I think that Liquid could just go back to playing 80 carries and they do well, but I guess that's kind of like a weakness that I saw in
Docking him a few points there. Next up, Dardoch, another one of the Echo Fox players. He's been performing well. Kobe, talk about this guy.
Yeah, I mean, as I talked about, this guy has had some of the highest highs of any jungler in the entire split, right? He has also, as we said, the double-edged sword strikes a few times, but I think that he's done a good job growing as a player over the years here, and has improved in a lot of the areas where people were critical of.
And this was one for me that was kind of my snub of like who I was debating on who was going to be my third pick. I didn't end up going with him, but absolutely deserves the praise that he's been getting this year.
Right. Instead, you went with Mickey. So why is it that you're looking at that Golden Guardians mid lane?
This was definitely a bit of a narrative push, but you take the 10th place team and you bring them all the way up to be tied with second currently. Like, that's a huge turnaround. He's the only roster change that's happened. I know everyone else is playing better. There's a lot going on here, and it's not just all Mickey.
Did you flip a coin to decide on Mickey?
Yeah, I was between Mickey and Dardoch. Came up heads.
If
Gotta
it
put him
comes up
in.
heads, yeah, I'm going to go with him.
But while we talk about all these other players like Huni, like Dardoch, people who can be over-aggressive and get punished sometimes, he kind of falls into that role as well and is a huge factor for his team in their wins.
Yeah, some of the losses, though, like the early games
Those
of
Lulu
this
games
split,
were yikes.
But here's my question.
as long as you
How
recognize
can
that.
you guys be picking people like Mickey and Dardoch over Sneaky?
I would love to hear this.
Okay, well, listen. Okay, so
Our ears are primed and
Set the
ready, my
stage.
Cloud9
friend.
has been a top team pretty much since it came into the league, and Sneaky's been there the entire time. He's
true.
a phenomenal player, very good teammate, like solid, like selfless, and you saw what happened when they took him out. Cloud9 started 1-5. He came back into the roster, a struggling roster that's been shifted so many times, and immediately found success, even on some of these new picks like Swain. So I think it's hard not to vote for Sneaky.
I think you're right that his absence proved his value, but he didn't actually contribute you know, like he was still 1-5 and he wasn't there for
I'm
that.
completely unbiased. You got to trust me.
Okay, you're right. I'm changing my vote.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because we were isolating those votes to the first 9 games of the split. There are still 9 more games to be played, so I'm sure that those votes would change as the split continues. We'll see which of those players can make their case for MVP as the split continues. Maybe the award will go to one of the pros in this week's Mic Check, which features FlyQuest versus Team Liquid.
Let me
Ooh!
this real quick.
Jeez. The second that hot tea hit my stomach, something exploded.
1 second. My last cube.
Guys, I'm gonna need you to get into the lobby, alright?
Yep, I'm coming.
Thank you.
You know what's actually gonna happen? We're just gonna get Zoe first pick. That's actually what's gonna happen here. Serious.
After that Mickey game, they're gonna ban Zoe.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yo, they're scared. They're scared. Ole, walk up. Just walk up a little bit.
He's walking at me.
Wow. Okay, never mind. They're not scared. Holy,
I
my
need
bad.
to flash.
What's your Q?
Oh, I died.
Hey, they're coming.
No, he did. I think. I'm gonna hit this.
Oh shit.
He flash.
Alright, Zoe's over the wall.
Yeah,
Zoe's
I
over
hit.
the wall.
Yeah, he flashed down.
You guys good?
Yeah, we're good.
I can't
Fine.
get. Yo,
Oh, hey.
that is here.
Yeah, I'll ult you. You got it.
Okay, go.
Nice.
Okay, can you?
No, Kindle.
Keep going. Go play.
Yeah, nice, guys.
Nice,
Good job, guys.
He's
Yeah,
too Peter.
you have to actually combo in.
Okay.
You can't just stay back the whole time. Yo, can you combo?
I'm going.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Just back.
I kill this guy. Oh, melting. He's dead. Okay. Nice, guys. Yo, Kindred's top side, okay? Kindred is top side.
Back. He only get mid.
Wow! Team coming back.
Mark.
Yo, Yasuo slowly coming bot side,
I'm coming
okay?
too. I'm following.
We got him.
I'm following.
We're running.
Run.
Nice,
I follow. It's okay.
It's okay. Don't worry, guys. Player on me.
Yeah. Hey, cross.
Yeah. Watch.
Down here, man.
Oh,
Hey,
you can kill.
Yeah, you can kill.
Guys, we have to like decide ASAP. Like we can't just. Okay.
Yeah, we need to do something.
Look at this guy.
I'm rotating.
Look, Jason.
Pass it to me. Okay, I can't go.
Yo, look.
I'm rotating.
It's okay.
I'm tanking. I don't want to.
Back.
I'm rotating. TP. It's okay. I'm
It's
rotating.
okay. Just give Lucas. Don't overcommit. Okay, you're good. Back.
I don't want to tank. I think fight.
Oh, we can. Kindred no ult, I think. I have ult 2, ult 1.
Go for it. Watch Yasuo. He's behind me.
That guy's one shot. We can walk up.
Hey, big one.
Look, Alistar's low. Ali. We can fight. Slow. Okay, back. I'm peeling Jason. Nice. Go, everybody. Kindred. Nice.
Let's go.
See, it was great. They gave us Zoe.
Honestly, we both had double lift on there, Mark. But after hearing him tell Ole to move up 2 times in lane, both times gets killed. I mean, that's why the criticism sometimes from the outside for the team's performances, you have to know what's going on, in the communication within the team, because it's not all Ole's fault.
Right. I think a lot of the times when you see a player make a mistake, that's just like, why would you do that? You're a professional player.
Yeah.
It's influenced a lot by like what's going on within their team. So that's big reason why, Doublelift didn't make my top 3 because I think he's just not as proficient on Vladimir because he hasn't played it enough.
I mean, that was a 19-1 kill game, absolutely decimated by FlyQuest. We got to move on, and while Jap might be MIA, that doesn't mean we can't have fun with some NALCS trivia in this edition of Kobe Stats.
All right, my time now. Let's get
Do we dance?
their new song. Kobe.
What is that?
Kobe.
No.
It's called Kobe Facts. Well, they didn't change the head. I really hoped that they were going to change the head.
Yeah, come on, blow
I'm glad they
Kobe's
didn't.
face. At least hit him with the single.
I
All
did
right.
change the questions, though.
All right, let's hear it. Question 1.
Question number 1. Since we have Medios on the desk, this had to be a KDA question.
Okay.
Question number 1. The jungler with the highest KDA in the North American LCS right now.
Oh, right now.
Right now.
All time, though.
12.7 Medios.
Wait.
Up to right now.
Okay. I was like in the summer split or all time.
Yeah, so
I'm going to go with this man on the desk right here.
Well, we had 12.7, but then I don't know what your other splits were. Was there anyone who had like a one and done, like great split, like Rush?
Because why I say right now is it counts his 12-1 KDA, right? But it isn't freeze for that season.
Right. It's his whole career.
I'm going with Medios.
Okay.
I'm gonna
have
say
faith
with
in
a
my man.
shorter career. I'm gonna say Rush, maybe.
I don't know, but
So
have some
about
faith.
myself.
Yeah, I believe you.
So when we were doing this, I thought that they were going to put in the other possibilities.
It is media.
There were more possibilities. Guess who number 2 is? right behind Meteos, is Santorin.
Oh, the FlyQuest jungler.
FlyQuest has the 2 highest KDA junglers.
We got best junglers.
I love it. I love it. All right, nicely done. These are much better than Jet stats. All right, Kobe,
Question number 2. This jungler in 2016, try and remember back, failed his master promos 11 times in a row.
I know. I know who it is.
11 times in a row.
I know who it is, but I'm going to wait.
This can't be me also.
I mean, hopefully you
you're
will
like,
remember.
You're like thinking, wait a second.
Or actually, maybe you would have shoved that out of your memory.
I'm going to say master promos are rigged.
Yep.
But
I know who it is.
I'm going to not vote myself. Anyone?
I'm going to vote Meteos, dude. I assume these are all Meteos stats.
You're going to vote Meteos?
Yeah.
Who do you want?
I'm going to vote not Meteos.
No, but not Meteos is
you
a
can't
safe,
take the
is
field.
a safe vote. I'm going to go with the man on my far left, Kobe himself.
Is Kobe?
I'm going to accept both those answers. Not Meteos and Kobe.
He
I
did,
was right.
and
Those
he
are
did
both
actually
correct.
get
You
it, but
say
he
what it's
legitimately, he failed his master's promos 11 times. This was a very tenuous time in the office. You didn't want to approach Kobe in the office during this time because the world was falling apart as he couldn't reach masters.
Probably the most tilted I've ever been in my entire life.
I
Are you
believe
playing
it,
enough
man.
Shaco?
I was not playing enough Shaco. It was
you go.
all Vi at the time.
Oh,
All right,
big
question
mistake.
number 3, Kobe. What do you got for us?
Our final question here, I decided to switch it up because you may have discovered a pattern in Kobe's stats.
This is very jungle heavy.
This is going to be different here. Okay, new look here. This animal throws up every time that they eat solid food.
Is this going to tie into the game at all?
Is it a snake?
Like, is this like another champion that we should be aware
Mark.
of? No?
This is a test of knowledge.
Nothing about
B, jellyfish, C,
Kobe
fly,
wants us
or
to be
D,
cultured, worldly
West
individuals.
African fruit bat.
Unlike Jat, who wants us to be narrow-minded, focused, stat end.
I need an answer.
Fruit bat.
They're
Fruit bat.
pressing me
Sounds
here.
good.
This is unfair.
Flies,
I don't
like
know anything
Cooper
outside
throw
of
up
League.
every time they land on
I thought
something,
snakes
right?
ate it and it just sat.
Jellyfish don't
fly.
eat solid foods. They just float around. So it's either
I don't
snake
think
or
a
fruit
jellyfish
bat.
could
I'm going to
throw
go
up.
fruit bat.
Meteos going C. You guys both going
I'm going to
D?
go fruit
Yeah.
bat. Yeah.
Fruit bat. Meteos is correct again. 2 for 3.
2 for 3. 2 for 3.
3 for 3. 'cause you said he got the
4
field.
3.
Meteos
All right,
100%
guys.
on Kobe stats.
I guess I'm only
Flies
good at
there,
good
Gross.
questions.
You
You're
heard
the
him there
winner.
on the lower third. We are running out of time here, so 2 minutes left on the clock. I want to get predictions for the entire day from all 3 of you. Boom! There they are. Oh, Jat, again, sliding in his predictions,
Always
even
finds
though
his way
he's
in.
not here. He's got to find
Whoa.
Okay.
You and Meteos
Nobody
are
else
buddies.
predicts 100 things
We got
to
the
win.
FlyQuest Faith here in Game 2. Explain yourselves, Mark and Meteos.
Blue side, please,
side.
for the love of God, just ban the funnel. You saw it work.
I have to say FlyQuest, you know, I've worked with both teams, and I think FlyQuest might look a little better now. I do think funnel is 100 Thieves' best strategy. If FlyQuest is able to deny that, I think they'll have a good shot.
So the blue side advantage there. The only other one I'm looking at is TSM Clutch Gaming, where we're split across the board. What are we thinking? What is our reasoning there, Kobe?
A lot of people are really down on TSM right now, but I think that's because they came in with super high expectations, and they've been disappointed compared to where they're used to seeing TSM at. And I don't think that they're going to make as big of a mistakes as we've seen earlier in the split.
So then what's
in
the
this
case
game.
for Clutch? Oh,
Well,
you had TSM too,
yeah.
sorry.
Couple things. First of all, I think Clutch has proven to be super effective against TSM. You know, counter Pokemon types. And
Classic.
Clutch is blue side. It's hard to vote against blue side.
It's that blue side advantage. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for us to kick it out to the battle arena to get us into Game 1.
Thank you very